I just got a new jumping spider. Let's find out all about them in this video. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am David and today I am introducing you to another jumping spider. Now because I got my Tarantula cribs coffin enclosure as a gift from Sophie, I felt I had to get a jumping spider to go in it. So if you haven't seen that review of that enclosure, I'll leave a card for it now. But today we are going to be introducing my new spider and how I set up the enclosure. Now we decided to get another male jumping spider and it is a Phidippus regius, Dos Gardenius region locality, because we saw them and we just love the male jumping spiders. I think it's the dark colours, the patternings and the way their chelicerae stand out so much. So that's the jumper we went for because we just love the males basically. Now we decided to name our jumping spider Midnight, and that's going to be a hint as to how we set up his enclosure, because he's going to a coffin enclosure. It's all going to be very spooky themed and we thought Midnight would be a great name for him because we've seen photos of him before we bought him and he looked kind of a spooky spider, so hopefully he's going to be very happy in there. So far so good. He's been moving around, exploring a little bit. I haven't seen any webbing or snacking yet, but we'll have to wait and see what happens there. So with regards to his enclosure setup, obviously we have this Tarantula cribs coffin enclosure, which is just a little bit different to the other enclosures we've set up in the past. We have a bit more height to work with, but a little bit less width and the same sort of depth. So as usual, I started off by filling it with some natural substrate and putting some springtails in there to keep the enclosure nice and secure and biostable, so there's no real mold growth or any problems if he drops his food or goes to the toilet down there. So springtails serve as an excellent cleanup crew in any sort of enclosure. Next up, for the spooky theme, I decided it needed a dead tree at the bottom. Nothing has a spooky theme other than a dead tree, and we got one as from a previous order from Inverts, so I popped that straight in there. Afterwards, I thought I would use my castle hide because I was itching for an excuse to have that. It's like a vampire's castle maybe, so I popped that in there, and then I also had a spooky cloud shelf ledge which I popped in the top. We did also have a sort of like dark purple hide, which again we popped on the top to give Midnight some options. After this, we decided to put in a nice bright coloured ladder, a couple of floor decorations, just again to give Midnight plenty of options to crawl around. I'm going to see how Midnight settles into the enclosure because I feel it may benefit from a couple more shelves or a feeding bowl, which we found very successful with all of our other jumping spiders. But for now, this is the kind of setup we're going to go for. I'm going to add some leaf litter on the bottom as well, just to give it more of a vibe and observe how he settles in, because originally my plan was to go sort of bioactive for this enclosure, but I changed my mind because I wanted to test it out in a more traditionally shaped enclosure before maybe translating it to this type. Plus also I didn't have the branches available and I basically was too enthusiastic to get another jumping spider, so I went with this lovely spooky theme with loads of different elements that aren't bioactive apart from obviously the substrate. So as I said, apart from a few problems getting Midnight in initially because he was a bit hesitant, everything's going fine so far. It seems to have settled in very well, and I'll obviously update you guys in the future, especially over on Patreon. Now I have that with exclusive sort of bits and pieces and sneak peeks of what's going on with him. But in the meantime, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, enjoyed watching footage of Midnight in his lovely enclosure. So happy with it. But take care and see you later.